Caitlin Clark walked into the arena with that familiar aura, somewhere between casual confidence and steely determination. Her debut game in the European League wasn't just another fixture on the calendar. It was an event. In many ways, this felt like the perfect next chapter for a player who had already electrified fans in the United States. The WNBA knew Clark was special. College basketball fans knew she was special. But nobody could have foreseen what was about to unfold in this European League opener. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. From the moment the whistle blew, Clark seemed to move with a sense of purpose that put everyone on notice. This wasn't a game for her, it was a statement. Opponents had prepared meticulously, poring over footage, analyzing every move she might make. Coaches scribbled diagrams, preached defensive strategies, and promised they'd found the formula to slow her down. But the reality of guarding Caitlin Clark is like trying to catch water with your bare hands, futile and frustrating. You think you've got her cornered, only for her to slip through with ease. Clark's game started modestly, just a couple of passes here and there, reading the defense, easing into the rhythm of a new continent's basketball style. But once she found her groove, it was all over. She began with a three-pointer that seemed as effortless as breathing, delivered from a spot on the court that most players wouldn't dare try. It was the kind of shot that could be chalked up to luck for anyone else, but not Caitlin Clark. For her, it was a warm-up. Before the defense could recover from that shot, she pulled up again, this time from nearly halfway down the court. The crowd gasped. The opposing team's bench shifted uneasily. That's the thing with Caitlin. She doesn't just take shots, she orchestrates them. She sees the floor like a chessboard, anticipating two moves ahead, while the rest of us are still figuring out our opening gambit. By halftime, Clark had already chalked up an eye-popping stat line. Yet it wasn't just the numbers that stunned the audience. It was the way she went about it. She had defenders spinning, heads turning, and entire defenses falling apart trying to figure out where she'd go next. It wasn't that she was faster or stronger than everyone else, though she was certainly no slouch in either department. It was her basketball IQ and timing that separated her from the pack. She knew exactly when to push, when to hold back, and when to go for the kill. But the highlight of the game came midway through the third quarter. The defense, clearly flustered, decided to double-team her at the top of the key. Now, this would rattle most players, being surrounded with nowhere to go. For Clark, it was merely another problem to solve. She spun between the two defenders with a behind-the-back dribble that sent one defender stumbling and the other frozen like a deer caught in the headlights. Clark didn't hesitate. She launched a floater from the free-throw line, while making it look like she was taking a casual stroll in the park. The ball seemed to hang in the air for what felt like a century before it dropped perfectly through the net. The crowd erupted in disbelief. It wasn't just the crowd that was buzzing. Back across the ocean, WNBA fans were glued to their screens, witnessing something almost surreal. The disbelief wasn't simply about the statistics Clark was piling up. It was about how composed and in control she seemed the entire time. It was as if she were playing a video game, and everyone else was still trying to figure out the controls. Social media lit up with reactions, and WNBA enthusiasts couldn't help but express their awe at what they were seeing. Clark's performance wasn't just a basketball display. It was an event that commanded global attention. But beyond the dazzling numbers, it was the little things she did on the court that left an impression. Whether it was a no-look pass that threaded through three defenders or the casual smile she flashed after making an improbable shot, Clark played with a blend of competitiveness and joy that's rare to find. It's like she was letting everyone in on a secret. This was supposed to be fun. And in the midst of all that intensity, she found moments of levity that made you root for her, even if she was tearing your team apart. In post-game interviews, European players were candid about what they had experienced. "We thought we had her figured out," one defender said, shaking her head with a smile that was more amusement than frustration. "But she's not like anyone else. You can't just study her tape. You have to be ready for anything." Caitlin Clark had done more than humiliate an opposing team. She had humbled a lead that prided itself on its physicality, its defensive toughness, and its intricate strategies, and she had done it all with a grin. The WNBA audience watched, stunned and thrilled, at what this debut meant for the future of basketball. If anything, this performance answered lingering questions about whether Clark could adapt to different styles of play. It's one thing to be dominant in college or to hold your own in the WNBA, but to come to Europe, play against seasoned professionals in a different environment, and take over like she did. That's a different level of excellence. The implications were clear. Caitlin Clark was transcending labels, and proving that talent knows no boundaries. What makes Clark such an engaging figure isn't just her skill but her demeanor. There's a sense of ease with which she approaches the game, like a comedian who knows the punchline will land before they even start the joke. And it's this demeanor that makes her success feel even more impressive. It's not arrogance. It's a kind of confidence born from preparation and belief in one's ability. Clark has a knack for making the impossible look routine, and that's where the magic lies. As the game wound down and the final buzzer sounded, there was a moment of reflection from everyone in the building. For the opposing team, it was a lesson learned. For the fans, it was a glimpse into the future of basketball. For Caitlin Clark, it was just another game, but in truth, it was so much more. She had come into a new league, faced new challenges, and risen to the occasion in a way that only she could. It was less about winning the game and more about showing what was possible when skill, strategy, and sheer will come together. This game marked the beginning of a new chapter in Clark's already storied career, but more importantly, it marked a shift in how the world perceives basketball talent. Players like Caitlin Clark challenged the notion of boundaries, whether they be geographical or stylistic. Her performance was a reminder that greatness doesn't stay confined to one league or one set of rules. It adapts, grows, and flourishes wherever it finds itself. WNBA fans who had seen Clark blossom from college to the pros were left with a mixture of pride and disbelief. Pride, because one of their own was showing the world what elite basketball looked like. Disbelief because watching Clark take over a game feels a bit like watching someone hack into the Matrix. It shouldn't be possible, and yet, there she is, doing it anyway. In the days leading up to her debut, there had been whispers and speculation about whether she could handle the European style of play. They said she'd struggle with the physicality, that the defensive schemes were more complex, that she'd need time to adjust. But Clark's response was simple and effective. She played her game, and in doing so, she turned those whispers into applause. The most amusing part of all of this is how effortlessly she makes it seem. Imagine an artist who paints masterpieces while humming a tune, or a chef who creates Michelin-star dishes while chatting about the weather. That's Caitlin Clark on a basketball court. And even as she's lighting up the scoreboard, there's a sense that she's holding back, waiting for the right moment to really show what she's capable of. Clark's debut wasn't just a good performance, it was a defining one. It set the tone not just for her European League season, but for her broader career. It raised the stakes and expectations, not only for her but for everyone else who shares the court with her. It showed that Caitlin Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's changing it, one game at a time. It's rare to witness a player who can make defenders, coaches, and even fans feel like they're playing catch-up. Clark's debut in Europe was a wake-up call for anyone who doubted that she could make an impact on this stage. It was also a reminder that some players are built differently. They see angles others don't. They anticipate moves before they happen. And they play with a level of confidence that makes the extraordinary seem routine. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content. We thrive on your feedback, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, keep discovering and stay tuned.